What's good? What's good? What's going on, y'all? So I'm here to give my prediction for the upcoming fight June 7th between Adrien the Problem Broner and Blair the Flair Cobbs. A rather interesting matchup. Uh, you know, two shit talkers. Um, Blair Cobbs. Adrian's last fight was last year against a guy named Bill Hutchinson. Last time, last time Blair Cobbs fought was 2 years ago. Man, he hasn't fought since 2022 against Maurice Hooker. All right, so yeah, Blair Cobbs has been inactive. That could play a major thing in this fight. But let's get into the tail of the tape, man. We got Adrien Broner has the most experience out of the two. 35 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 24 wins by knockout. So he has a 68% punch ratio, knockout ratio. Adrien Broner has pretty good power when he lets his hands go. That is, okay. 34 years old, 5'6" with a 69-inch arm reach. So he has Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, first off. All right, and Blair Cobbs, 16 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 10 wins by knockout, 62% knockout ratio. So, despite of what you think about Cobbs, Blair Cobbs is working with some punching power too. He has some good power, pretty respectable power. I'm not sure how old he is. I don't see his age, but he's 5'11" with a 73-inch arm reach. So much taller than Adrien Broner. Has much longer arms than Adrien Broner. Right now, his one loss came at the hands of Alexis Roca back in 2022. He got knocked out in the 9th round. All right, that's the fight where it looked like he wanted to beat up the ref. He was so flustered. He was so out of there. It looked like he was about to knock the referee out. It was crazy. But Blair Cobbs is a tricky fighter. He's one of them fighters, man. He's one of those. He can move. He has good footwork. He can move around, move his head. Decent little jab behind him. Like I said, he got sneaky power. A little decent puncher. Solid chin too. He has a pretty solid chin. Alexis Roca was hitting him with some good shit. He didn't knock him out till like the 9th. He just couldn't take it no more. But solid puncher. Adrien Broner, solid puncher, excellent counter fighter, decent inside game. I haven't really seen inside game like that from Blair Cobbs. Blair Cobbs is more of a mid-range outboxing type fighter, but Adrien Broner, he's a mid-range fighter. He's not really an outboxer, and he can also bang a little bit in the inside, you know. Blair Cobbs, his performances from his last 3 fights, Maurice Hooker, Alexis Roca, and Brad Solomon, were all pretty decent performances. This is one of these 3 fights is where Blair Cobbs suffered his first knockout loss, his first loss overall against Alexis Roca. Brad Solomon fight looked good against Brad Solomon. He was getting clipped a lot though with the right. He was getting hit with that right a lot in that fight, but he got the 5th round stoppage against Brad Solomon. Against Alexis Roca, he did more moving around a lot. He did a lot of used a lot of his footwork. I guess the power of Alexis was getting to him, and ultimately he did what he could. He did pretty good up until he didn't do good, and he got knocked out in the 9th round. Couldn't take any more of the punishment from Alexis Roca. And then against Maurice Hooker, he looked really sharp, good on his feet, good power, good speed. He knocked Hooker down 3 times in that fight and pulled off a unanimous against Maurice Hooker. This was 2 years ago. So out of all those performances, looked the best against Maurice Hooker in my opinion. Now Gerard Ennis, his last 3, Adrien Broner, man, his last 3 fights were against Bill Hutchinson, Giovanni Santiago, and Manny Pacquiao. back in 2019. Okay, he lost that fight against Pacquiao. Uh, Broner, man, Adrien Broner's performances have not been the best lately. His last three. Um, the Pacquiao fight is debated. A lot of people's like, man, I beat that boy. If you go back and watch it, man, that was a really good fight. It was close. Adrien was using good. His counter shots were effective in that fight. It could go either way. I have to go back and rewatch that fight to see who I had winning it. But he lost, and that's what it is. Giovanni Santiago, he was coming off a 2-year layoff in that fight. It wasn't a really exciting fight at all. I mean, to me it wasn't, but he had his moments. He looked real slow in that fight, but Adrien Broner, he was letting it fly a little bit more than he usually do, but he was obviously, a lot of his punches were off. He was trying to find his target. He was trying to sharpen his target, so to speak. He just seemed off in that fight, which is a little. I mean, he came off a 2-year layoff, so that's to be expected. Looked real heavy and solid. And for what it's worth, man, he got the win against Giovanni Santiago. And he did let his hands go. He didn't just go in there and just pot shot. He was doing what he had to do. That was a good fight for him to come back to after 2 years. And then the fight against Bill Hutchinson. That fight was another long layoff. Okay, so he hasn't fought in almost 2 years when he fought Bill Hutchinson. So another long layoff for AB. This was a time where, like I said, he was going through all these personal issues outside the ring. Same thing when after he fought Pacquiao. Then 2 years later he fights Giovanni Santiago. Then 2 years later he fights Bill Hutchinson. So these long gaps, you know what I mean? They taking their toll on Adrien Broner. He did get in there and beat up on Bill Hutchinson. Didn't really look impressive to me, but he got the win. What I'm noticing is, though, he's just looking more sluggish and more tired in a lot of his recent fights. I think Adrien Broner's shining point is at 140. I don't think 147 is really good for him. I think his power might be a little diminished at 147. He definitely looks slower at welterweight than he did down at junior welterweight. But out of these last three performances, he looked the most sharp to me. It's debatable. I guess he looked a little better against Giovanni Santiago. He was a little younger too, but it was nothing impressive from either one of these fights. The Pacquiao fight, he looked pretty good in that fight as well. But no, I think he looked the best in Pacquiao fight. I'm tripping, man. He looked better in the Pacquiao fight than he did in the other two most recent fights. All right, but how does this fight go? How does it look? Well, it's gonna be typical AB. I think, like I say, he's fought. He's been a little bit more active than Blair Cobbs. So he had a fight last year. At least this gonna be a year when he fights Blair Cobbs. That would be almost exactly a year, a little under a year, 2 days short of a year that he would have been fighting outside the ring. That he'd been out the ring. Okay, so Blair Cobbs has been inactive for almost 2 years. So that might play a role in some things, but I still don't think this fight is going to really be. It might be a little exciting. Blair Cobbs got the footwork over Adrien Broner. He's faster. And this is going to be at welterweight, right? So AB is definitely slower at welterweight than he was at 140. Blair Cobbs is fast. He's fast at this weight. This is his division. So I see Blair Cobbs catching AB with some good shots. AB got a hell of a chin. So this fight, I don't think this fight going to end in a knockout because I think AB is slow. He's not as fast as he was, especially at this welterweight. He's going to have to find and catch Blair Cobbs. And Blair Cobbs ain't going to just stand there and let him just hit him with something big. So I got this fight going back and forth. We're going to see a lot of boxing. You might see some inside work from Blair Cobbs. Some inside work from AB. I don't think Blair Cobbs can really hang with AB on the inside like that. But this is a welterweight, like I said. AB is slower now. I don't think his power really translated much up to welterweight. So I got this fight pretty much looking like back and forth. Might see some action towards the end of the fight. Maybe around 10, 9 and 10, you might see a little bit more inside work from each of these dudes. But ultimately, I think AB ain't gonna be frustrated by trying to catch Blair Cobbs. I think the footwork from Cobbs is gonna probably play it. And it's gonna play his role in this fight. Cobbs might show some rust early on, and you're gonna see AB gonna probably pour it on him a little bit earlier in the fight, and Blair Cobbs gonna start probably heating up later on in the fight. But I got Blair Cobbs taking this fight, bro. I got to win it by decision. I think he gonna probably outbox Adrien Broner, even though he been off a little too long. I think this is Blair Cobbs' division. He looks sharp at his division. Adrien Broner has not looked impressive to me at welterweight at all. So I'm going with Blair Cobbs for 12th round unanimous decision. Let me know what y'all think. This is Rebel Life Boxing. Drop a comment and talk to me. I'll catch y'all later on the next one.